Right, I'm going to give you guys an example. So, you've got a guy and he's got his shoes and you're standing in front of him and you're taking a picture of him. Now, as you back away from this guy, right, what you're going to get him to do is take his shoes off. So he takes his shoes off and lays them next to him, walks off to the side of the frame of the picture. And you back further and further and further away from this pair of shoes. Now, eventually it will reach the point where those shoes are only a pixel in your camera because they're very small, the angular size reduction. So they've reached the point where they're on the horizon and they're only 1 pixel. Then you back a bit further away and they're no pixels. They've effectively disappeared. The angle to see them is just too small. So they vanish. However, if you get the mate who took the shoes off to run over to those shoes and put them on, because he's taller than the shoes, you've got a wider viewing angle to that guy. But his shoes and feet will be cut off.
Nathan, I'm a really polite guy, so I was just really struggling to just interrupt, but I just did it then because you were saying about the distance. And nothing to do with this. I'm just going to slightly interject with the cyclone Florence, and everyone thinks that we should be able to see the clouds moving.
Changing the subject.
Yeah, it's distraction.
It's not changing the subject.
Well,
it's changing the subject on the point that's being talked about.
And the guy that is, because you first have to understand what he's just said and just answer that.
I understand what he just said. That's why I'm saying, how do you expect to see the clouds moving at 285 kilometers an hour when the thing's doing 17,500 kilometers an hour? How do you expect to see the clouds moving? It just doesn't work out.
Yeah, this is what I would define as drunken gish gallop. So
yeah.
you
don't know what parallax is.
Right, we're not talking about parallax. We were talking about perspective. We were talking about perspective.
And that's why I was talking about perspective.
Excellent. So let's just summarize then. So you see this guy's shoes and he's in the distance and you back away from them and eventually they reach the point where the angular size of those shoes is too small to see. So they vanish from the bottom of your frame of reference. So you've got your horizon with the shoes on them. The shoes disappear because the angle is too small to see them. They go from 1 pixel to no pixels. The guy then runs across, he puts the shoes on and you can see his ankles and his legs and his torso and his head, but not his shoes. So he hasn't gone over the curve. He's still vanished from bottom up though, because his shoes are too small to see.
That's a great example, Nathan, but a better example was your wife's driving down the M5 and she's doing 110 kilometers an hour. And you look at her and you're in the question. It's not. This is fucking parallax.
Answer what that example that he's giving you. That's all you need to focus on. You don't need to talk about anything else. That's the point.
Oh, you can't accept this example.
Jazz, it's a question of, are you going to address the point or are you going to obfuscate the point? You brought up perspective. We're all right with talking about that, but I don't really see how perspective's got anything to do with
of everyday parallax, not judging shit between shit that's not stuff that you can realize, which you every day you say is fake.
Yeah, this is total gish gallop nonsense. So on screen, Ranty's got a few examples, and now this lighthouse is obviously something that is getting smaller and smaller and smaller as he lowers his angle. So in this instance, it's not distance that's causing this lighthouse to get more and more squashed, it's the reduced viewing angle due to elevation. So as he lowers his elevation, he effectively reduces the viewing angle to this lighthouse, squashing it. Now eventually, he would squash it so much that it would be nothing, and if he backed away from it, the same thing would apply. So with this bottom one, the one I'm going to circle it for the audience, this one which is obviously more squashed than this one due to a viewing angle reduction, if you backed away from this one, the same would happen as would happen with the shoe example. It would get more and more squashed until eventually it was just a couple of pixels, and then you back away a bit further and it would just be no pixels. But the mountain that's behind it, that would still be there. You'd still be able to see it because of the increased viewing angle to the thing that's larger than this thing on the horizon. So things that are very small get smaller with distance till they disappear from bottom up. That's what causes things to disappear bottom up. Aries diffraction due to a reduced viewing angle at distance. Nothing to do with curvature.
Oh, we should have a quick chat about this, and if Nathan could stay on, that'd be great. No, you're Nathan.